The nervous system is made up of nerves. A nerve is a bundle of nerve cells. A nerve cell that carries messages is called a neuron. Messages carried by neurons are called nerve impulses. The ability of neurons to generate and conduct impulses make them special. Nerve impulses can travel very quickly because these are electrical impulses. Think about flipping on a light switch when you enter a room. When you flip the switch, the electricity flows to the light through wires inside the walls. The electricity may have to travel many meters to reach the light, but the light still comes on as soon as you flip the switch. Nerve impulses travel just as fast through the network of nerves inside the body. Neuron has three main parts: the cell body, many dendrites, one axon. The cell body contains the nucleus and other organelles. Dendrites and axons connect to the cell body. Dendrites receive nerve impulses from other cells. Axons pass the nerve impulses on to other cells. In this video, we will learn about resting membrane potential, action potential, repolarization, refractory period. Let's first talk about resting membrane and resting membrane potential. Each neuron has a charged cellular membrane, which means there is a voltage difference between inside and outside the membrane. When a neuron is not stimulated or not transmitting any impulse, it is called resting membrane. At that time, charge on the outside of the neural membrane is positive, while charge on the inside of the membrane is negative. Neuron maintains its resting membrane potential at minus 70 millivolts. It means that the inside of a cell is approximately 70 millivolts more negative than the outside. The outside of the cell contains excess sodium ions. The inside of the cell contains excess potassium ions. Membrane potential of minus 70 millivolts is produced and maintained by different concentration of ions inside and outside the neuron. Also, there are ion channels present on the cellular membrane which are selectively permeable to certain ions. Ions must pass through ion channels when they either enter or exit the neurons. Different type of ion channels help in the generation of impulses in a cellular membrane. First, there are leak channels. These are called leak channels because they allow ions to simply diffuse down their concentration gradient. Cell membrane possesses many potassium leak channels and a few sodium leak channels. Because of that, potassium leaks out of the neuron at much higher rate than sodium leaks in. Leak channels are always open, but other channels require signals to tell them when to open and close. For example, there are voltage-gated ion channels that requires membrane potential to reach a certain value to open. Sodium voltage-gated ion channels have three states. They can be closed, open, or inactive. There are also ligand-gated ion channels. These channels require a specific chemical messenger to bind to it at its receptor sites for activation. You might be thinking that if cell membrane allow ions to cross that easily, how does sodium stay outside and potassium stay inside the neuron? For that, there are sodium-potassium pumps on the membrane that pump sodium back outside and potassium back inside the neuron. Sodium-potassium pump uses energy in the form of ATP to transport 3 sodium ions out for every 2 potassium ions brought inside the cell. This process is a good example of active transport. You might be wondering, how can the charge inside the cell be negative if the cell contains positive ions? There are two reasons for this. In addition to the potassium ions, negatively charged protein and nucleic acid molecules also inhibit the cell. Therefore, inside of neuron is more negative compared to the outside. Leakage of potassium out of neuron and inequality of ionic transfer through sodium-potassium pump is the second reason. Recall that sodium-potassium pump brings 2 potassium ions into the cell while removing 3 sodium ions out. As more cations are leaving the cell than are entering, this causes the interior of the cell to be more negatively charged compared to the extracellular fluid. So far, you might have noticed that ions flow passively through ion channels toward their concentration gradient and actively against the concentration gradient through ion pumps. When a stimulus reaches a resting neuron, the nearby sodium voltage-gated ion channels open. Because there are many more sodium ions on the outside and the inside of neuron is negative relative to the outside, sodium ions rush into the neuron. Remember, sodium has a positive charge, so the neuron becomes less negative and more positive. When stimulus is weak, there will be no action potential. If the stimulus is strong to open enough sodium-gated ion channels, the threshold point will reach at the potential difference of minus 55 millivolts. A nerve impulse is only initiated if threshold potential will reach. After that, there is no turning back. All the nearby sodium-gated ion channels will open and allow more sodium inside the cell. This causes complete depolarization of the neuron, and an action potential is created. In this state, the neuron continues to open sodium channels all along the membrane. If you are troubled because a new term depolarization is difficult for you to understand, let me make it more clear on you. You know that a resting membrane is in a polarized state because of charge separation caused by different ions. We can show this graphically by using the units of millivolts on y-axis and time on x-axis. Resting membrane potential is maintained at minus 70 millivolts. Now any change in membrane potential towards zero is termed as depolarization. Note the prefix D, which means away from. Any change in the membrane potential that moves back towards resting membrane potential is termed as repolarization, with the prefix re, which means again. A change resulting in movement away from resting membrane potential but in a more negative direction is called hyperpolarization, with the prefix hyper, which means excessive or above normal. When membrane potential reaches almost 30 millivolts, this is called overshoot. At this point, sodium voltage-gated ion channels become inactivated, blocking influx of sodium ions and inhibiting excess of depolarization. After that, the potassium-gated ion channels on the inside of the membrane open to allow potassium to move outside the membrane. With potassium moving outside, the membrane's repolarization restores electrical balance, although it is opposite of the initial polarized membrane state that had sodium on the outside and potassium on the inside. Potassium gates takes a little long to close. When they finally close, the neuron has slightly more potassium on the outside than it has on the inside. This causes the membrane potential to drop slightly lower than the resting membrane potential, and the membrane potential becomes more negative than normal minus 70 millivolts. At this point, it is said to be hyperpolarized because it has a greater potential. This period does not last long, though none of these steps take long. After the impulse has traveled through the neuron, the action potential is over and the cell membrane returns to its normal resting state. Another concept that needs to be discussed is refractory period. There are two types of refractory period. The absolute refractory period, which corresponds to depolarization and repolarization, and the relative refractory period, which corresponds to hyperpolarization. Absolute refractory period is a period of time when neuron is incapable of repeating the action potential because sodium voltage gated channels are inactivated during this period of time. It does not respond to any incoming stimuli. It's kind of like your phone keeps on ringing, but you cannot pick it up because you are busy doing something else. The absolute refractory period takes about 1 to 2 milliseconds. After the absolute refractory period, sodium channels begin to recover from inactivation and become closed. This is the relative refractory period. During this time, if strong enough stimuli are given to the neuron, it may respond again by opening sodium channels and generating action potential. However, the stimuli given must be stronger than was originally needed when the neuron was at rest. During all this time, sodium-potassium pump was busy putting everything back to normal. It returns sodium and potassium ions to their rightful side of the neuron cell membrane, sodium on the outside and potassium on the inside. The neuron is back to its normal polarized state and stays in the resting potential until another impulse comes along. Sodium-potassium pump works so hard to maintain resting membrane potential that it is responsible for almost 55% of total brain energy consumption. One more thing that you need to know is that action potential is generated only at a small segment of neural membrane and is referred to as nerve impulse. The area turns into stimulus for the adjacent region of the membrane that turns depolarized. Because when sodium ions rush inside, because of their same charge, they repel each other, depolarizing next segment of the membrane. The previous membrane is repolarized as a result of exit of potassium ions followed by opening of potassium gates. Hence, the nerve impulse will keep moving forward. Thanks a lot for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe and share.